So, you're thinking about Orlando, Florida, right? It's one of the hottest rental markets in the country, for sure. But wow, it can be complex. In this explainer, we're going to give you the investor's map to this booming city. We'll break down exactly what makes it tick and where those real opportunities are hiding.
And yeah, that really is the big question, isn't it? When a market is this vibrant, it can feel a little overwhelming. With all this opportunity, where do you even begin? Well, let's figure that out together.
Okay, so what's the secret sauce here? What makes Orlando so special? Well, it's kind of like a perfect storm of factors. You've got this explosive population and job growth just fueling demand like crazy. But, and this is the key part, real estate prices are still surprisingly affordable. Throw in a massive population of renters and some really high rental rates, and bam, you've got the ideal recipe for a super powerful investment.
Now, every investor's got a different playbook, right? In Orlando, it pretty much boils down to two main paths to making a profit. You can either focus on long-term appreciation or go for that immediate cash flow. Let's break down what each of these really means.
All right, first up, appreciation. The easiest way to think about this is it's the long game. You're basically making a bet that the property itself is going to be worth a lot more down the road. Your big payday, that comes when you eventually decide to sell.
And then, on the other side of the coin, you've got cash flow. This is the now game. It's all about the money that's left over, the cash you put right in your pocket each month after all the bills are paid, mortgage, taxes, you name it. This is your immediate, tangible return on your investment.
And this right here, it perfectly lays out the two different mindsets. The appreciation investor, they're like someone climbing a mountain. You know, they're focused on building that long-term wealth in areas that are just about to pop. The cash flow investor, on the other hand, is more like a business owner. Their focus is all about that immediate monthly income, making sure the rent easily covers all the costs. So the really crucial question is, which one are you?
Okay, so with that in mind, let's take a little tour down that first path. We're heading into the appreciation hotspots. These are the neighborhoods where property values are really poised for some serious growth.
And our first stop is a community that's pretty much become synonymous with growth in Orlando. We're talking about Lake Nona.
Look, Lake Nona isn't just growing. It's literally exploding. It's one of the fastest growing communities in the whole country. And that higher median list price you see, around $535,000, it's directly tied to its anchor, the massive medical city. This thing is a hub of hospitals and research facilities, and it creates this constant demand from high-income, stable professionals. That makes it an incredibly powerful engine for long-term property appreciation. It's a no-brainer for that strategy.
Okay, so we've seen the shiny new hub. Now let's switch gears and look at a classic, more established area. Our next appreciation hotspot is the very prestigious city of Winter Park.
You know, don't let Winter Park's classic charm fool you for a second. Its future is incredibly bright. I mean, look at this. Future job growth is projected at a massive 47.7%. That just blows the national average out of the water. So when you combine that kind of economic engine with high rents and the fact that there are very few rentals available, well, you create some intense upward pressure on property values.
All right, for our final stop on the appreciation tour, let's explore a neighborhood that offers a completely different kind of opportunity. Let's talk about College Park.
College Park is this really cool blend of historic charm and this buzzing, up-and-coming energy. Get this, rental rates have jumped 13% in just the last year alone. And because a lot of the homes are older, it's the perfect spot for what's called a fix-and-rent strategy. You can buy at a lower price, add some value with renovations, and then attract all the millennial renters who are just flocking to the area.
All right, time to shift gears. We've seen the long game, right? Now it's time for the now game. Let's take a tour of the neighborhoods we're calling the cash flow kings. These are the places where you can find those immediate, month-after-month returns.
And our first stop is a name you'd probably already know, but maybe for a totally different reason. We're heading to Kissimmee.
You know, the whole story of Kissimmee is right here in the numbers. First, you've got a very accessible entry point. The median home value is under $225,000. But here's the real kicker. Almost 60%, 60, of the residents there are renters. That massive tenant pool, combined with average rents over $1,700 a month, well, it creates a really simple and powerful formula for positive cash flow.
Okay, for our next cash flow destination, let's head just a little bit north of Orlando to the city of Castleberry.
The case for Castleberry is just so simple and powerful. The homes are older, they're well established, which means the purchase prices are lower than in some of the neighboring areas. But with nearly 45% of the population renting and an average rent of almost $1,700, the rent-to-cost ratio is just fantastic. This is a classic textbook cash flow play.
Okay, so we've looked at two very distinct paths, right? Appreciation and cash flow. And they seem like totally separate strategies. But what if I told you that you might not have to choose between them?
And that brings us to our special hybrid pick, a city that offers this really compelling blend of both worlds, Oviedo.
Oviedo really is the best of both worlds. I mean, the average rent is a staggering $2,350 a month. That's immediate, powerful cash flow right there. But at the same time, the super low rental inventory and its proximity to the massive University of Central Florida, that creates a constant demand that fuels long-term asset appreciation. It's a true hybrid opportunity for sure.
So we've toured the neighborhoods, we've looked at the data. Now for the most important part. How do you take all this information and turn it into your own personal action plan?
It really all comes down to this simple three-step process. First, you've got to define your goal. Are you playing the long game for wealth, or do you need that income right now? Second, choose your path based on that goal, appreciation or cash flow. And finally, use that path to zero in on the absolute perfect neighborhood for your strategy.
So, we've laid out the map for you. We've talked through the strategies and the hotspots. The Orlando market is just full of potential, really. It's just waiting for investors to come in and write their own success stories. So the only question left is, what will your Orlando investment story be?